Hey there, strong people. This is Doug from Two Rebels Off Grid. Carrie is off. She's been away for almost a month now, and she went to assist her mother. Her mother wasn't doing well, so she went out there to take care of her mother. Unfortunately, things turned for the worse, and her mother is no longer with us. She was such a great woman, very giving, and I'll always remember her. Soft-spoken woman. She was a prayer warrior and always was looking out for others instead of herself, unselfishly. Bruce sent me this hat. Mortal Kombat! I had to play around with it because it's the biggest hat I think I've owned now, but I'm gonna rock it. Alright guys, so this is part 3 of the Paddock series. We're working as I have the money to purchase supplies. We're kind of running low on the supplies for the fencing to do many more gabions. But in this video, I'm going to put up 4 more gabions that are going to support the chicken run. We hope that you like it. Have you ever heard of the saying, the fruits of your labor? What does that exactly mean? Me, for one, I cannot stand doing labor, especially for other people, really. If it's for myself, if it's for building up this homestead and that, I love doing labor. But we have to save money. I don't get enough money on one paycheck to go out and buy a lot of supplies, so you're just going to have to bear with us on this Paddock series. The fruits of your labor is just that. What you put into life, you're going to get back out. It will be something, it will be a blessing. When I'm working on this land, right now I'm exerting energy and I'm putting my inputs into the land, and hopefully one day I will have a blessing in return. And it's promised in scripture, it says that. When I do these gabions, at first their intention in my mind was to hold up a fence, right? But that one input of picking up a stone and putting it in a basket ended up in a multitude of results. For instance, when I put up this gabion, I am securing a fence, right? That's the obvious thing. But there are a multitude of outputs that come from that one input, such as when I clear all the rocks out of this paddock to build this thing, I'm getting a potential garden in the future as I'm removing the rocks. I'm taking away tripping hazards for my animals. There's not so many rocks that they can twist their ankles on and such. I'm providing shade. I'm providing a wind block. All these gabions up here add to blocking the wind, believe it or not, just as well as a tree would. I am marginalizing my perimeter. I am building a contour trench, a swale or a berm, by digging out the rocks and placing them in here. I'm putting a low footprint into the paddock in which I can shed water. I can manage water from it. I'm able to plant into this area because the rocks are being removed and exposing dirt. I'm providing shelter for animals. I've already noticed that little birds are going in between these rocks with little twigs, so they're building nests in here. So I'm providing a wildlife habitat for the local animals. The lizards, they can hibernate in these. The birds obviously are making nests in here. I also managed to get a YouTube video out of this, which inspires others to do stuff like this. I've made this my signature. It is a mark on my property that says, yes, Doug and Carrie did this work. We can tell. It's throughout the property. To show you, this corner is my lowest spot, so I actually put a cinder block here and then the post. That would give it some nice height. And then we'll put the cage around this and all will be good. We'll backfill with stone just like everything else. This pallet here is not going to stay. It's throughout the property. It is a mark. It's marking your territory, so to say. And we've made a fire break here by removing all the debris that's in here that could burn. Any fire that comes up this direction would have to go through this paddock, and there simply is nothing here to burn. Alright, we are up. Not that early. I got to sleep in a little bit. But we're up. It's another day to be able to get some work done. I don't have my job to go to today. So we are going to get back on these baskets. I got one there, and I got this one to do. And then we are done with the gabions for here. I do have to put a gabion here. Not sure what I'm going to do with that. And I was thinking I might incorporate this into the side of this run, just so the chickens have a little shelter. We're recycling the doghouse. And yeah, I'm hoping to get 2 of these gabions done today, and we will be very happy about that if I can at least get those 2 done today. So what I'm getting at is when you do one input, there should be a multiple of reasons why you're doing that work. It should always have more than one purpose, whatever you do. So by picking up that one rock, I got at least 15 purposes out of doing this labor. So you can see, working smarter, not harder, is the way to go. Fruits of your labor will be many, as long as you're willing to put in the work and the effort. You do the work now, but you get to enjoy the fruits later. So I don't really mind working hard and getting blisters and my hands becoming, you know, steel, as one viewer said. It's all worth it in the end, guys. So I basically have enclosed this whole thing, and yet my Pyrenees are still getting out. They're getting out, and they're getting out through this gap here. They're basically using this as a ladder and coming out, and that new gate that I put up, they're also getting out that way also. So I've got to take care of this. They're at the moment loose, and we're gonna fix this before I put them back in here. But bouncing back project to project. Today's voting day, guys. Hopefully you all went and vote. By the time you see this video, it would have been over and we'll know who our next elected president is. Never throw away anything, guys. You're gonna need it one day, I'm telling you. This is some old scrap fencing I found. I'm gonna basically cut a piece here and strap it to this fencing. I'm gonna do the same thing to the other gate. Hopefully that works. Hopefully they don't learn to scale up the whole entire thing and go over. I don't want to have to leash these dogs all the time. It's bad enough that they have to stay in a paddock. I'd rather have enough property where I could just set them free and let them go, but when they do escape, they like to go for miles. Pyrenees can go up to 10 miles average. They will adopt any property, any house that's within that 10-mile range. They'll adopt it as their own, so they'll actually protect even your neighbors. I'm just gonna wire this, and hopefully that's will work. Now I gotta do the bigger gate. And I'll come back and cut off all these old dangerous edges. Not cutting ourselves on the wire all the time. Yeah, the perimeter is fine, guys. It's just this gate they're getting through now. So, and then if they escape after this, then I have to just keep doing it, fixing the spots as we see their flaws, as the dogs reveal them to us. And the dogs are very funny because they'll watch me, and when I'm not looking, that's when they make their escape. Because they know if I'm watching them that I'd be able to fix it. After I'm done doing this, I'm going to probably try to wrap up this video and then go vote. I think it's kind of really important to vote this time, especially where I live. A couple more of these and I'll call it good. I was going to use those stainless steel sheet metal screws, and I don't know if it'd get through this. I wasn't even going to try. I'm going to put one more here, and then call it done. The dogs aren't as annoying when they escape as the goats are. The goats get out and they just wreak havoc. They go into our seating area and start eating my plants and eating our lawn furniture and all that good stuff. So now I'm just gonna go back and cut off all these. I don't want anybody poking their eye out. Don't be running out here. Don't even think about it. I think we're good, guys. Oh, it looks definitely better than it did with the cables on there. So the original design was that we were going to split the chicken tower in thirds, and there would be one breed of chicken accessing through that one window and another breed coming through that one. They'd come out to the chicken run. The chicken run was going to be two separate runs for the two different breeds of chickens, but that's so low, people are going to be bumping their head when I put the sky bridge on. So I am going to put a sky bridge on that first window over there because it's high and it's kind of in the corner where people won't be walking past it all the time. So sky bridge will be coming from here into the chicken run. So the chickens can go back in at night eventually, when this is actually a chicken coop and not storage. So that second window now, I'm going to just convert that into a real window like the other ones. I'm going to put a shutter on it and just use it for ventilation. When it's really hot, we can open up that shutter and let some more air in there, because it's going to be directly in the middle of this hallway. So I have one more gabion to put here. After that gabion's done, I plan on putting another gabion right here, and there should be a gate here. And this will be where we milk the goats, this next room here. So I'm going to build a cage around this one and see if I can get this one knocked out. Hopefully. So before we get too far along, I wanted to, I think in the last video, or it was the one before that, no, it was the last video, part 2, you saw me ripping up stone out of the ground. Well, what happened is when I got done with the paddock, I kind of started running out of surface stone. So I took my tractor, and it has some forks on the very back, and I ripped up all this area to reveal more rock, so I'm not having to look too hard for it. So I found more rock buried just below the surface, so I've been picking up all that. I'm gonna have to keep doing that to get enough stone to finish all the projects I have to do here. But the other thing you notice is I was ripping up these big pads of stone. Nice big 4 and 5 foot pieces of stone, probably 200 pounds a piece, maybe more. I'm going to use those as steps that will be in this inner hallway here. The steps will come up because we're rising in elevation here as we're coming up around this tower. So that will be really nice stones. I'm really glad that I found those. I'm hoping I can find at least 4 more big chunks. So as I am ripping up this stone, I'm also water managing, because the water flows down this hill. We noticed when we had a real heavy flow of rain that the water was coming down this hill and going under our RV. And it's quite a bit of water because it washed all the goat poop all the way down there. So we're ripping up the stone so that we can fill our gabions, but I'm also making an on contour trench here with the tractor so that when water comes down this hill, it's going to hit this trench and it's going to flow that way down into the wash instead of down by our RV. So there is a method to my madness. Do two things. I mean, sometimes you can get 4 and 5 different functions from one episode of work that you produce. Just wanted to mention that before I forget. This series is based on the paddock. It's not based on just making a bunch of gabions, but that is the material that we're using to make the paddock. Paddocks are typically made for horses and motorcycles, believe it or not. They're enclosed spaces to maintain them so that, let's say if you have a horse, you would be able to maintain them this area. This is where your water would be for them. You could shoe them, put on your saddle and all that stuff in the paddock and then ride off. Well, here, these animals are never most likely going to leave this area until I build other paddocks that will come off of this. And that way I can rotationally feed these animals, and I can, for instance, one summer send them off into this side. They'll strip it bare. I'll bring them back in, put them off into another paddock over here the next year, bring them back in here and let things grow. And the goats are definitely like lawnmowers. They will strip it bare. This was all like the desert there. I did no pruning here at all. This is what you get when you have goats, guys. So just remember that. Where you put the goats are, you're gonna have barren land. But it's fine. I'm able to get the rocks better without the bushes here and stuff. I imagine at one point, perhaps in the chicken run area, the vegetation might grow back. Maybe it won't, who knows. But I'm gonna cage in a little area so the chickens can't scratch, and I'm gonna plant trees and bushes there, and hopefully some of the native species comes back on its own. But this paddock is gonna have buildings in it. So it's gonna have all my buildings. It's gonna have area for Carrie to keep her fermenting stuff at, and we'll be able to water, because I'm gonna run a hose from that cistern down here so that we can feed the animals from here, water the animals from here. It's all gonna be really nice, but these outbuildings are gonna take a little while to build. We just got the one corner for the gate, and then I can start working on the walls, or I can just go ahead and start getting more gabions set up for the next 2 buildings that are gonna be right here. Yeah, it's gonna be a good thing, guys. But these gabions are slow going. But I only have to do them once, right? Do them once, get the work done once, and then I can reflect upon it and just be happy I don't have to do it again. Here's the final product. These 4 corners will support the roof to the chicken run. I haven't quite figured out what else I'm going to do with this. We know that we're going to put some nesting boxes in here, but it's going to provide some good shade, a nice rain roof. See, we're talking about getting multiple outputs from one input. So we put in these 4 corners. We're going to get a rain roof. We're going to get a shade. We're going to get shelter. The chickens will be safe from the dogs. Just like that, you get multiple outputs from one input. So the fruits of my labor. If you can see way out there, there's snow on those mountains. We were going to start working on some of that lime work up there, but guess what? We went from 90-degree days and 70-degree nights to now it's like 48 degrees in the day and 31 at night. And so where's my lime window. It just completely disappeared. So I'm gonna have to just really watch the weather and make sure that I pay attention to my temperatures and just try to put out that lime work when I can. If it doesn't look good, guys, I guess I won't be doing any of that lime work until the spring. Just keep plugging away on this paddock. But yeah, this is turning out good. It's what I expected. So I'm thinking doing the pallets in between these and then covering with mud and then plastering it like that building that you see in the background. It'll all look good. And put a gate somewhere, haven't decided yet. The real trick here is just kind of making these buildings, the roof line is what's really making it hard, is making these buildings so they kind of fit in with that building there. Going with the curve of the building, but if you do too much of a curve, then I'm going to end up having to do wonky roofs, and I really want to keep the roofs square so it'll be easier to collect water off of them and run gutters on them. The other two buildings down here probably are not going to shed water into that cistern because it's way too low, but is what I'm thinking about doing is running the roofs so they run off this direction, because there will be two buildings here with rain roofs on them. But I'm really thinking about putting a garden bed right there, and we'll have all the water that sheds off these two buildings here will shed into that garden bed, and either that or an IBC tote. We'll figure it out though, guys. Stay tuned for the next one. I'm gonna have to save up for some money so we can actually get some work done here. But we hope that you enjoyed this video. If you liked it, thumbs up it. If you're not a subscriber, please subscribe. We got more videos coming your way. We're not gonna stop doing this for any time soon. We're gonna record this whole lifestyle that we're living and our builds and everything else, guys. So we're not really hiding anything from you. So until next time, adios. Mortal Kombat! Mortal